Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm Kerry. Today I'll be showing you how to crochet a baby seal, which was another request I received. When crocheted using 8-ply yarn and a 3mm hook, the large one, the size is 9 centimeters square or 3.5 inches square. The medium seal crocheted using 4-ply crochet cotton and a 1.5mm hook is 8 centimeters square or 3 inches square. The small seal, crocheted using 2-ply crochet cotton and a 1mm hook, is 5 centimeters square or 2 inches square. I'll be using Catona cotton, so the size will be slightly smaller than this large one. I'll tell you the size at the end of the video. I'll also be using white cotton today, but they can be done in white or grey. I'll be using Catona cotton. I've got 110 black for the eyes and nose and 106 snow white for the rest of it. I've got a 2.5mm crochet hook, a darning needle to weave in the ends, thread and a needle to stitch it together, and the red is to embroider on the mouth, and I use a bit of the other for a bit of embroidery too. And I've got scissors. Now I start on the head and work down and work the body and then a neatening row and then work the tail and then the flippers. I've got my 106 of Snow White and we start with 8 chain. For row 1 we want it to be a bit curved for the top of the head, so we're going to work different stitches. We're going to work a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. A single crochet is a double crochet using UK terms. For a single crochet, put your hook in the second chain from the hook and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook and take the hook with this yarn at the end through both loops. Then we work 1/2 double crochet into the next chain. That's a half treble using UK terms. For a half double crochet, put the yarn around the hook, hook into the next chain and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through the 3 loops. Then we're going to work 1 double crochet into each of the following 3 chain. A double crochet is a treble using UK terms. For a double crochet, put the yarn around the hook, hook into the next chain and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook, take the hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops, yarn around the hook, hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops. We need 1 more double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. 1/2 double crochet into the next chain and 1 single crochet into the last chain. And we've got a curved top. For row 2 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch, 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches, and 2 single crochet into our last stitch. For row 3 we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into our first stitch, 1 single crochet into each of the next 7 stitches, and 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 4, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into each of the 11 stitches. For row 5, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each stitch. For row 6, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each of the 11 stitches. For row 7, we start with 1 chain and turn. We're going to start decreasing now. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches. So put your hook into the first stitch and bring up a loop, and hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop. We've got 3 loops on the hook. We put the yarn around the hook, take the hook with this yarn at the end through all the loops. Then we work 1 single crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. And work a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 8, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches. Then work 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. And a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. And that's the head done. We'll start on the body part now. For row 9, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch. One single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. And work 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 10, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch. 1 single crochet into each of the next 7 stitches, and 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 11, we start with 2 chain and turn. We work 1 half double crochet and 2 single crochet into the first stitch. So 1 half double crochet and 2 single crochet. That was into the first stitch, and then 1 single crochet into each stitch to the end. There'll be 10 more stitches. For row 12, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet in each stitch to the last stitch. That will be 12 stitches. Into our last stitch, we work 3 half double crochet. For row 13, we start with 2 chain and turn. We work 2 half double crochet into the first stitch, and then 1 single crochet into each stitch to the end. We'll have 16 stitches altogether. For row 14, we start with 1 chain and turn. Now we're going to be decreasing again. We're going to work a joined single crochet over the first 3 stitches. So put your hook into the first stitch and bring up a loop. Hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop, and hook into the following stitch and bring up a loop. There's 4 loops on the hook. Put the yarn around the hook and take the hook with this yarn at the end through all the loops. And then work 1 single crochet into each of the next 10 stitches. Now we're going to work a join single crochet and double crochet over the next 2 stitches. So put your hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop, then put the yarn around the hook and hook into the following stitch and bring up a loop. Then yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops, yarn around the hook, hook with the yarn at the end through all the loops. We missed this last stitch, but it still bends down quite well without working the last stitch. For row 15, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches. Then 1 single crochet into each of the next 8 stitches. And then a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 16, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches, 1 single crochet into each of the next 6 stitches. And a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 17, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 3 stitches. One single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. And that's the head and body done. For the neatening row, we start with 1 chain and then turn your work over because we're going to have the seal facing that way. And work 1 or 2 single crochet when needed into each stitch up to the last stitch before the back. You may need 2 single crochet into a stitch going round the corner. I only work 2 single crochet if my work starts to bend back. Now, just as you get to the back, we're going to work a little stump to add the tail on. We work 2 chain, then work 1 half double crochet in the same place as we worked our last single crochet, and then just work a slip stitch in each stitch just down to the body again, and then we're going to work single crochets again up to the neck part. Just into this neck part, I like to just work a slip stitch in a bit further, just to bring the neck in, and then I continue working a single crochet in each stitch up around the head. Now at the neck you could work a slip stitch in a bit further if you wanted your neck to go in a bit more, and then just work 1 or 2 single crochet in each stitch to the beginning of the row. And then slip stitch in the top of the first stitch and fasten off. And that's the main part of the seal done. For the tail we join our 106 of Snow White just at the top of the stump there and work 6 chain. We work 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then 1 double crochet in the next chain. That's a treble using UK terms. Then we work a treble in the following chain. That's a double treble using UK terms. For a treble, put the yarn around the hook twice, hook into the next chain and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook, take the hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops, yarn around the hook, hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops, yarn around the hook, hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops. Then work a double crochet into the next chain and a single crochet into the last chain, and then slip stitch into the spot we joined, and we're going to work another one the same. We start with 6 chain, We work a single crochet in the second chain from the hook, a double crochet into the next chain, a treble into the following chain, a double crochet into the next chain, and a single crochet into the last chain, and then slip stitch into the same stitch as the join and fasten off. And that's the tail done. I'll just weave in these ends. Now for this front flipper, it's not joined to the body, it's stitched on later. I've got my 106 of Snow White, and we start with 3 chain. For row 1, we miss the first chain and work 1 single crochet in each of the last 2 chain. For row 2, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch and 1 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 3, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch and a join single crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 4, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a join single crochet over the first 2 stitches and into the last stitch we work 1 single crochet, 1 half double crochet and 1 double crochet. And that's the flipper unneatened. For the neatening row, we start with 1 chain quite tightly, and we're going to work 1 slip stitch in each stitch around. For a slip stitch, put the hook into the stitch, bring through a loop and take it straight through the loop on the hook. So hook into the stitch, bring through a loop and straight through the loop on the hook. At the top, I work a slip stitch in the first stitch, 1 chain quite tightly, and work a slip stitch in the same stitch. It just squares up the end a bit more. And I'll do the same at the other end of the top. A slip stitch, 1 chain quite tightly, and a slip stitch. And then slip stitch in the first stitch and fasten off. And that's the front flipper done. Now for the back flipper, we're going to be joining about halfway between the neck and the bottom of the seal in the back loop only. So probably this stitch. The back flippers worked across 4 stitches. Now I'm going to leave a long tail at the beginning for the neatening row, You don't need an awful lot because we're just working a slip stitch in each stitch around the flipper, but I prefer to leave too much than too little. Now we start with one chain and we'll be working into the back loops only. This is a back loop here and this is a front loop. Now we work a join single crochet over the same stitch as a join and the next stitch in the back loop only, and then one single crochet into each of the next two stitches in the back loop only. For row 2 we start with 3 chain and turn. We work one double crochet into the first stitch, and we're going to work a joined half double crochet and single crochet over the last 2 stitches. So put the yarn around the hook, hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop, and then hook into the last stitch and bring up a loop. We've got 4 loops on the hook. Put the yarn around the hook, take the hook with the yarn at the end through all the loops. For row 3 we start with 1 chain and turn and work a joined single crochet over the 2 stitches, and then we fasten off. And that's the flipper unneatened. For the neatening row, just bring up a loop from the tail you left and work 1 slip stitch in each stitch around the flipper until you get to the body. Just slip stitch in near the body and fasten off. And that's the flipper done. Now for the eyes, I've got my 110, the black, and we start with a magic loop. There's lots of ways to make a magic loop, so make it how you feel most comfortable. I just put my hook on the yarn, bring the short end over the hook and then the long end over the short end to make a circle, yarn around the hook and bring my hook with this yarn at the end through the circle, and that's my magic loop. I start with 1 chain and work 4 single crochet into the circle, and then I pull the circle tight. So I take hold of the tail and ease it in as tight as I can, and we join with a slip stitch in the top of the chain or the top of the first stitch. It doesn't really matter. And fasten off. And that's the first eye done. And the second one is work the same. We make a magic loop, work 1 chain and 4 single crochet into the circle. Pull the circle tight and join with a slip stitch. and fasten off. And for the nose, I've still got the black. Now I'm going to leave ends at the beginning and the end to do the embroidery of the mouth and round the nose. So I leave quite a bit and make a magic loop. I work one chain and 2 single crochet into my circle. I pull the circle tight and fasten off, leaving a long tail. Now that's all the pieces worked. I'll weave in the ends except these two, and I'll be back and we'll put it together. Now there's the pieces. I've got the seal, the nose, 2 eyes, and the front flipper. The first things I'll do is embroider the 2 dashes across the eyes just after the center, on top and the bottom of the center, and I'll embroider the little marking on the front flipper just across there. Now for the eyes, I'll use the cotton I used to work the seal. Next we attach the eyes to the head. I've got them level with the bottom of the first row, so in about there, and attach the front flipper just in about there. Next we attach the nose just in there, and then embroider these the mouth, and once I stitch that down I'll embroider it around, and then in between I'll add a little bit for the edge of the mouth. Now last I fill in the mouth with red, and I'll embroider 3 whiskers on each side and 3 little dots just in between the nose and the whiskers, and then I'll be back to show you the finished seal. There's the finished baby seal. The size is 10 centimetres square or 4 inches square. If you've liked my video, please like, subscribe and share. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest and Patreon. The details are in the description below, along with the description of my website where I have my patterns and my Facebook group. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.